Good morning.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm feeling outstanding. Better now that you're here. How you doing?
Oh, thank you all so much for having me.
Oh, the pleasure's ours. Just Mickey Guyton in the house, ladies and gentlemen. So we're so happy to see you.
I'm so happy to be here, truly.
Talk to me real briefly. You've been on fire playing live music, but the exposure, the music, things that's just really starting to fall into place. Describe what this year and this last couple of years has been like for you.
The last couple of years have been years of healing for me. I think I went through so much in 2020. That's when like my career really took off, but with that came a huge responsibility. There was a lot of pain in that. I wasn't intentionally being an advocate, and then I became an advocate. You have to go where God shows you, but it comes with a price, and it can be your mental health. So this year has been a healing year, 2 years for me, and it's been really, really awesome. Like, it feels good to be able to focus on the music.
What's been the key to this healing? What have you had to do to kind of push back and start to flex back up so you could feel like you were being you?
That's the key.
Oh, who's that beautiful baby?
That's my son, Grayson.
Little man's got your back. So he's been your center of gravity, your linchpin,
Yeah,
your soul.
yeah, just the way he like views life is just so beautiful and innocent, but also very insightful. Like the mind of a young child, it's just so black or white. There's nothing. It's so simple. And he just like makes me appreciate those things.
Well, we have five young children, so I know that they can ground you. They are honest. They will tell it like it is.
Woo!
But that's been your support. How has he been the wind beneath your wings?
Like just watching him navigate spaces, like even in Nashville, he's been put in a lot of predominantly white spaces, and the way that he problem solves in that has been really, really beautiful. Just the way he navigated, like he has one of his friends, and it was this little white kid, like, blonde hair, blue eyed. Grayson has Hulk hands, so he's like enamored by like Marvel, and like Spider-Man is his guy. And I remember the little kid was like, I'm gonna be the good guy and you be the bad guy. And he obviously, it's a kid. He doesn't understand, the stigma with black men and being the bad guy and the superhero being the white guy. But the way that Grayson like problem solved it, he like paused and he goes, how about you be a good guy and I be a good guy? And then we're both good guys. And I was like, how it's that simple?
That's
It really
priceless.
taught me it taught me, to have grace, and you know, people can still learn.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Well, thank you for sharing those candid thoughts and realities. And I got to say, I've really been looking forward to connecting with you. You've been in
Yeah.
this game, crushing music for more than 10 years, and then putting out just your second full-length LP titled House on Fire. Please, if you would, do me the favor, please walk us through the process and the vision for all your new magic to share with all your fans.
Well, House on Fire, this is your house, your mind. And the whole purpose of this was like, it was like a love letter to my husband because, musicians, entertainers, as you know, like we're very complex individuals. Like the way our careers, they're not normal. It's so built on self validation. And that is just not, in my personal opinion, a healthy way of living. And I don't care who you are, it can really mentally mess you up, like constantly looking for validation from other people instead of yourself. And so, my husband loved me through that. So my whole purpose was like to show him that I loved him and to like thank him kind of for kind of being there for me in that. Like my song House on Fire, the words are just saying like, are you going to still love me when things are bad? Because it's easy to love someone when things are good, but the true test is, can you love someone through heaven and hell, and can you get on the other side of it?
Oh, absolutely. That soulmate, that partner through good and bad that makes
Yeah,
you better and brings light in your life.
yeah, absolutely.
So a tribute to your man. I love that.
Yes, he drives me crazy still today.
Believe me, my wife tells me every day I drive her crazy and she still loves me, so I'm pretty flattered.
Y'all, all y'all are trying to do is just not get in trouble, is what I
That,
hear.
That's it. We just don't want to get in trouble. We smile and say, yes, yes, yes.
My husband said, he goes, why do we always get in trouble? Why are we the ones? Y'all never get in trouble. Like, we're always like, I'm a grown ass man and I'm just getting in trouble.
And you know what? Sometimes we do. We feel like little kids, like, okay, sorry, you're killing me. Well, it's been a pleasure watching what you're doing. You know, as a big time success and a 4-time Grammy nominated artist, congratulations.
Thank you.
How would you describe your musical journey in this wide open, ever changing industry?
Listen, it was a very difficult journey. I got signed a long time ago, and the nature of this genre of music is very indicative of kind of what's going on in the country. Like, this genre, very much so, the way they treat women, like, it's very put you in your place, and this is where you belong. And so, imagine being a Black person who's also a woman navigating that. And there were so many, intentional and unintentional microaggressions that happened to me through a long period of time. And like, I know people hate the term gaslighting, but there were so many instances where I was actually truly, the meaning of gaslighting was happening to me. And it was one of those things where, like, growing up in the South and learning to be submissive and meek and humble and listen to your elders, I had to go through that whole journey watching that and watching, oppression happen to people that I love dearly that are in high powered positions. Like, it's not just artists, like, it's like executives as well. And I kind of broke out by just finding myself and accepting me for who I am. Growing up in this country, like, you found yourself, at least in my generation, like, always felt like you weren't enough. And I had to go through a lot of soul searching, and that came out within my music. It was like a form of therapy for me in my music.
It's no secret there's not a lot of brothers and sisters in country music, and you've been open about the challenges to break down these barriers. Where did you get the confidence to be bold, to be strong, and keep pushing when a lot of people might have just given up?
Well, again, my husband, we were at a restaurant, a bar out here in downtown Los Angeles, because he's an attorney, he's a lawyer who started his own law firm. And we were sitting down there, and I was just like, why do you think country music isn't working for me? And he said, because you're running away from everything that makes you different. He said, country music, I know. And he said, country music is 3 chords and the truth. So why aren't you writing music from a Black woman's perspective living in America? Like, country music is that. So who's to say that my story isn't country?
Mhm.
When I grew up in the South, like, that's where I grew up. And that week I wrote Black Like Me.
That is huge. So the fact that using your music for storytelling from an authentic, organic, real place changed it.
Yeah, it did.
Wow. And what's that process been like? You know, you're absolutely a trailblazer, becoming the first Black female solo artist nominated for a Grammy in country music. You know, you face these hurdles. Who have you reached out maybe to maybe get some help and some insight to do that?
Well, I think the thing that has helped me the most was like, and my theory could be wrong, but it's not enough for just one Black country artist every like 25 to 50 years have a career. Like, there can't be this long lull from Charlie Pride to Darius Rucker to like Kane Brown. Like, that's not enough. I think we as, Black people in whatever powered positions that we're in or not powered positions, I think we owe it to the culture and to our people to like make sure that we open the doors for other artists. And like, it's not enough for there to just be one. Once I started thinking about that, I have a really great friend. Her name is Brittany Spencer. And she started just showing me all these Black country artists like Carolina Chocolate Drops, and obviously Rihanna Givens, and all these amazing artists that I'd never seen in my life. I was like, what? Where have I been? Have I been under a rock? The answer is yes. And, the healing for me and how I found strength and purpose is like showing like country music also looks like this, which is crazy. I started doing that, and now like I see TikTok trends of that happening, and now like line dances, where my fans at, all this stuff. It's just it's beautiful to see. We have a long way to go, but
Well, bravo to you. And you talked about it for all the progress made by you and the other pioneers you mentioned. As you continue in this industry, what kind of changes do you hope to see in country music that would help you get to where you think this industry belongs?
people being less racist, which I'm not sure that is going to
Yeah.
like I've witnessed with my own eyes like an industry like not wanting to even acknowledge like Shabuzi and his he had one of like the biggest songs of 2024, like without question, one of the biggest songs of 2024. And he goes on an awards show and they're making fun of his name.
Yeah, that's
And
just
it's
wrong.
just like I can't help you. Like you're making fun of Shabuzi's name, but what about Jelly Roll? Let's and I love Jelly Roll, but I'm just saying like that has to stop. Or Beyonce, putting out a country album, and it was the most important album of 2024. 2025, I guess it's when it was nominated and won album of the year. And it was like crickets. I mean, I do wish, more could have been done as far as like uplifting these Black artists and like truly continuing. Like, you can't just come into a genre and put out an album and leave. Like, if you're gonna make this change, like keep it coming. Like, especially with your influence, it's so important.
Have you had much of a chance to connect with artists and Beyonce in particular to talk about this?
I have not connected with Beyonce. She gave me flowers,
Oh, that
but
is sweet.
I mean, it's Beyonce. Like, it's not like that's asking a lot. She's
Sure.
one of the biggest stars in the world. So if she ever called me, I'd be glad to have a conversation. But I do appreciate her flowers. I've definitely connected with a lot of the artists that were a part of that album, like Brittany Spencer and Raina Roberts and Tanner Adele. Like those are, and Shabuzi. And I mean, we all have different walks of life. Our path in country music is so different, and we do connect on those. You know, the fact that we are some of the only ones.
Rare, rare.
Very rare.
And I'm just going to put it out into the universe, out in the atmosphere. I'd love to see a duet with you and Beyonce, and maybe a Black country music album with you, Shabuzi, Darius, and
Say
let's
less.
put this thing
Yeah,
out
let's keep it going. Where are my fans at?
there. We'll start the grassroots. Well, I'd,
Yes.
I'd love to talk about this album. A lot of people got a taste of your new album on that gorgeous duet with Kane Brown. Nothing compares to you. You two have such just a powerful natural chemistry. What was that ride and experience like making some seriously beautiful music together?
What people don't know, or maybe they do know this, he's like an actually like very shy person. Like he's very shy, but he's such a just a sweetheart. His wife is really sweet. It was just a really fun, like we do have such a natural chemistry. It's like it becomes like, I don't know, like obviously we're singing a love song, but I felt way more like of a brother sister love between the two of us, obviously. But he's just a really, really special human being. He is. And he's navigating a lot himself in country music.
Oh, yeah. And you have that luscious music video together. How would you describe the hot sauce and all the vocal magic between you and Mr. Brown?
Tequila.
Tequila, yes. Cheers to that.
Tequila is what where that chemistry came from. A time was had. A time was had.
It seems like you enjoyed the music video part of this because that's an extension to engage with your fans.
I really did. The craziest thing is like I just came back from France and I was so dehydrated that day that I had to like get an IV because I was just the jet lag was just so bad. It was actually it looked great, but like honestly how I was and how I felt, it was the exact opposite.
Well, you pulled it off. Well
I
done.
did. I did.
Let's talk about the lead track from your new album, My Side of the Country.
Yeah.
Song bring to the table and our ears that made you feel like it was the perfect jumping off point to set the vibe and tone?
Well, I think because, like this album came right definitely on the heels of Beyonce's Cowboy Carter. And it was just like, this is what is going on. Like, we do the same things as you do. It just is such a fun song, and what it's saying, it's like it's a fun song, but what it's actually saying is really important. And it's like, welcome. Like, we've been here. We ain't going nowhere. Like, it's definitely a statement in a very nice way.
An anthem to put it out there in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and tell people where that came from and why you wanted to put that in the universe.
I wrote that with a guy, Tyler Hubbard, who is my label mate. He was the genius behind the group Florida Georgia Line, and as well as Corey Crowder. We wrote that at Ryan Tedder's studio in West Hollywood. And we just at times had it, and it was just such a fun song that we wrote together.
Beautiful. And now I'd like to talk about your title track, of course, House on Fire,
Yeah,
perfectly named because you do unleash more and more heat. Where
yeah.
did that song come from and what does it mean to you personally?
So I wrote that with Jenna Andrews and Stephen Kirk. They wrote Butter for BTS. And, mental health is something that's really, really important. And, my husband says, you've got to get your house right before you can get your house right. And it's so true. And we wrote that literally about mental health because, I mean, after I had my son, I dealt with postpartum and just being in the music industry, it's so hard. And I'm like a baby artist, a tiny artist compared to like, a Justin Bieber or somebody. Like I can't even imagine or even fathom the battle that someone like that is going through. Like I can't even fathom it. And mine's on such a small scale, but it's about mental health. It's like, will you still love me regardless of what's going on around me? Like, will you love the person that is the real me when no cameras are around, when it's just me in my house? Will you love that person?
That's serious soul searching. Again, you're still very, very not only young in the industry, but you're a young woman who's now a mother and a wife. I mean, how do you manage all this?
I have a village of people around me. And I just, you know what? Like, people are just going to have to understand that I'm a mother and you're going to have to accept it and take it or leave it. Like, I'm keeping the world turning. I did my duty or not duty. I mean, having children isn't everybody's priority, but I feel like I did my earthly maternal duty and had a baby. So with that being said, I deserve some freaking grace, you
You
know?
absolutely do. You deserve more than that. You an animal.
Yeah. I mean,
I,
you have 5 children. You've seen what goes on.
oh,
That is,
my wife is the superstar. So yes, she's the CEO, the boss. She makes it happen. I'm her assistant.
yeah. You're probably one of her children too.
Yes. Well, again, and you look like $1 billion being the mama, the CEO of your brand, your wife, and everything. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been
Oh,
really
well, and real quickly, I'd love if you jump into the time machine for me. Take me back to, growing up in Texas and your first memories hearing country music. What was it about the music and the genre that grabbed you most, spoke to your soul, and made you want to become a singer?
it's so crazy. It wasn't even like an actual genre of music. It always was the national anthem.
Yes.
That was like, I don't know what it was. It's so funny. Like, it was so telling that I sang the national anthem at the Super Bowl. But I remember like one of the first, I heard Whitney Houston sing the national anthem. I was like in my room, the big national anthem she did. And I came out of my room like, what is this? And then the other time was I was a little girl and I'm from Waco, Texas. So, we went to Dallas for a Texas Rangers baseball game and we were all the way in the nosebleed section. I had a Hello Kitty cup. And I remember hearing Leanne Rhymes sing the national anthem. And again, it was just a voice for me. And, like the 90s, like it was about the vocals, I grew up in the country. Like I know I don't really have an accent anymore, but I grew up like Southern belle in the country. When I would see my grandma, she loved Dolly Parton. And so she didn't have cable at her house. And when I would be normally watching Nick Jr., I would go over to her house and she was really, really poor. And she had VHS tapes hanging on the back of her door. So I was watching those, and that was Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers duets, and it was Fried Green Tomatoes, like Southern movies, Still Magnolias. Like that's the kind of stuff that I watched at my grandma's house. That was my introduction to country music. And I live in Texas. It's just like a way of life.
I just wanted one final question to hear about you and your fan connection. Now that you're hitting your stride, living with all these songs, what's been the best part? And what's been the reaction as you go out and sing these songs live for all your fans?
It's just beautiful seeing your fans, like my success came during a pandemic. And with that, there was a lot of, cyberbullying and hate. So a lot of times when I go, if I'm opening for another artist or whatever, like I'm still pretty traumatized by the stuff that people said to me. So I get really scared I'm going to run into that. But with my audience and my fans, like I have everything. Like I have black, white, gay, straight, bi, pan, whatever. I have all of that. And it's just like a very loving and accepting audience. And that feels really good to feel safe like that.
Well, bravo to you, super mama, super wife, super artist. Again, this is really, really nice connecting. I've been cheering you on. My wife loves everything you do as well.
Oh,
So bravo to you. And I wish you many, many more years of huge success.
thank you so, so much. I really appreciate you for having me.